Hello everybody, good evening and happy So Blue Dolly Sunday to you. I've got Jack with me who wants to show off his rather smart new outfit. Mummy found him a little romper set on eBay. It's newborn size. I'm sorry I didn't check the label, so I don't know what brand it is. Hang on. Let me come back so I can show you sort of properly. It's covered up by his bib, but I'll describe it to you. It's got a sort of slate grey trim, and the inside is white with graphite grey stripes, and on top of that it's got appliqued on a little car. It looks rather like a sort of mini, and it's got red bodywork and bright yellow headlights and teal wheels and a teal outline. And Jack's little romper, he's got little slate grey cuffs at the bottoms of his feet, and he looks rather smart, I have to say, and it fits him rather beautifully, which is great because sometimes teddy bear size clothes don't really fit Jack very well because Jack's a bit like his mum. He's got a very round tummy, so the Build-A-Bear size stuff doesn't always fit him. Thank you again to Tamara at Once Upon a Nursery for hosting this tag, and if you haven't already, please do go and check her out, because she is a really lovely person and she deserves more subs, so please do give her a try because she'll make your day. Speaking of things that make people's day, I wanted to say a quick thank you to Laurie over at Reborn Huggles, who gave me a lovely shout out on Thursday, which I didn't know about until this morning. Thank you so much, Laurie. Quick kisses to little Liam, and hopefully Freddie will be on to say hello to you both very soon. Thank you so much for letting people know about the channel and the things that we do here. Laurie also said that she loved the stories that we do, so we're going to do another story for you today. This one is by Jeremy Strong and it's called Batpants. I love this story. It's a very funny one, and it's got an orangutan in it, and a lot of you guys who participate in Cheeky Monkey Monday might get a real kick out of it, so enjoy. I'm not going to read the whole thing today because it's not huge, but it is fairly long. So what I'm going to do is read a sort of chunk, and then I'll come back to it at a later date. As per all other videos, when I read, all copyright goes to Jeremy Strong and Puffin. I own absolutely nothing. This is just for enjoyment and entertainment. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Chapter 1. Batpants and other family members. I live in a treehouse. You may wonder why. Could it be 1, because my parents don't have a proper house? 2, because my parents didn't like to have us kids in their house because we're too noisy and messy? 3, because a gigantic strawberry cheesecake had fallen out of the sky, landed on our house and smashed it to bits, and we had to live somewhere? 4, because Dad was very clever and thought that Finn and Zach and I would really like to live in a tree house, so he built one for us. Guess what the answer is? Of course, it's 4. The tree house is connected to the main home by a wooden walkway that wiggles across to the upstairs hallway. We have a dangly rope hanging down to the ground. There are wooden stairs too, but the rope is a lot more fun. Finn is 7 and a small pain. Zach is 13 and a big pain. Then there's me, Tilly. I'm 10 and definitely no pain at all. Oh, and I mustn't forget our orangutan. Dad trains animals for films and TV. You remember the advert where a tiger sits in a car and seems to drive it? Well, the tiger was trained to do that by our dad. And it was Dad who brought our orangutan over from Borneo. He'd been filming there. She was just a baby then, and an orphan too. Dad looked after her. He couldn't bear to leave her behind when filming finished, so he got permission and brought her home to us. We fell in love with her at once. She was so cute, even when she tittled on your lap. It wasn't her fault. Even human babies do that. Mind you, it did help when Mum got some disposable nappies for her. She looked so funny, waddling about the house like some incredibly hairy little old man who'd been put in a washing machine and come out all shrunken and with very long arms and wearing a nappy. Do you know what the most difficult thing about having an orangutan in the house is? I'll tell you, trying to think up a good name for her. Ginger Nut, said Zach. Mabel, I offered. Hairy Mum, Finn suggested, and went into squeals of laughter. He was only 5 at the time. Loretta, said Mum, which mystified us. She held up her hands and explained. I had a great aunt called Floretta, and she was rather similar to an orangutan. But Floretta makes her sound like a bit of broccoli, I complained. Anyway, how did your great aunt look like an orangutan? Asked Zach. She was rather hairy, Mum told us, stroking her chin, which sent Finn into more squeals. Then Dad came up with his suggestion. Lady Henrietta Withering Gas Trumpet, he announced. We looked at him in despair, and we still couldn't think of a good name. One day, Finn was playing at being Batman. He didn't have a proper costume, but I gave him a pair of my old tights. Finn pulled on his grey school jumper and a pair of Wellingtons for his bat boots. His cloak was a black bin liner. Batman's pants were a problem though. Finn didn't have any black pants, so we found a pair of Dad's white fronts. Gross. Don't worry, they were clean, but totally uncool. Just don't poo in them, I warned. I'm not two. I'm Batman shouted Finn. The orangutan came in to see what all the noise was about, and my brain just about burst with the best idea ever. Why don't we dress her as Batman? Quick as a flash, the tights came off Finn and went on to the ape. So did the school jumper. We decided the boots wouldn't work. Instead, we draped her in Batman's cloak. That just left the pants. I don't think orangutans like wearing pants. Ours snatched the wide fronts from me and stuck them on her head, pulling the sides right down over her face. Her nose and one eye peeked out from a leg hole. An ear poked through the other. The ape stood there, gazing at us with the one bewildered eye. This was the superhero who was supposed to save the world, with pants on her head. It was just too funny. Phil and I fell about. That was when the ape set off at a high speed, zooming round the house. She whizzed upstairs, downstairs, and through all the rooms, hooting like crazy. Hoo hoo wah! She only came to a halt when she went hurtling straight into Zach, almost knocking him over. Zach looked down at the sprawling animal, busily wrestling a pair of wide fronts on her head. Who or what is that? He asked. Batman, I said, obviously. Batman? Batman? Snorted Zach. If you ask me, she looks more like Batpants. Finn and I looked at each other. It was the perfect name. Chapter 2. Escape bushes and major hair accidents. Batpants has small ears, big eyes and an even bigger mouth, which she loves to fill. She likes apple crumble, roast chicken and small tomatoes. She eats the apple crumble and chicken, but she doesn't eat the tomatoes. Instead, she likes to load them in her mouth. Then she purses her lips and blows the tomatoes back out at high speed, like a machine gun. Rutter, slutter, slutter. Mum and Dad have banned Batpants from shooting people with tomatoes, but Finn and I still smuggle her some when we can. We usually eat in the big kitchen, so you can probably guess that the walls are a bit messy now. There's a very interesting tomato pee effect splattered across them. Visitors often spend hours staring at the walls, trying to work out how it was done. We don't tell them. Batpants managed to hit Zach once, right in the middle of his forehead. Splat! Finn and I thought it was the most brilliant thing ever. You may think it's odd to have a pet orangutan who machine guns people with tomatoes, but in fact they are very brainy beasts. They are clever with their hands and feet too. They could pick their noses with their toes if they felt like it. Luckily, they don't often feel like it. Besides, for us, Batpants was just another of the animals we have around the place. We have 3 cats, Cookie, Crumpet and Tea Cake. Then there's Horse, the donkey, Zach's joke, and Twiglet, the giant stick insect, Dad's joke. We also have a bearded dragon lizard known as Betty, and some frog spawn called, guess what? Frog spawn. As if that's not enough, there's also Finn's private collection of interesting creatures. He collects things like earwigs, beetles, worms, woodlice, spiders, caterpillars, and anything that's small enough and slow enough for him to capture. Yes, I know, he's very strange, but he's my little bro, so I had to put up with it. He mostly keeps them in boxes, but he's not much good at remembering where he's put them. The earwigs might turn up on top of the television. The worms could be enjoying the bathtub. This gets Finn into trouble, especially with Zack, who doesn't like discovering unexpected caterpillars in his coat pocket. It doesn't suit his rock star image. If you ever meet Zack, he will soon tell you that he's going to be huge on the music scene. His guitar playing is certainly loud enough. Dad says it makes his teeth rattle. Zack's got his own band, the non-organic vegetables. Why non-organic? Asked Mum. It's more threatening, Zack answered threateningly. Zack has long, straight, purple and black hair that he keeps having to flick back, otherwise he can't see. He walked into his bedroom door once. Bang! Ow! Almost everything he wears is black, and his t-shirt says "Death" in big letters on the front. Because of Zack's loud guitar playing, Dad reckons it's a spelling mistake and it's supposed to say "Death." Then there's Zack's famous black coat. It comes right down to his boots and flows behind him like a dark cloud. Finally, he has a silver stud through his left eyebrow. Ouch! It kind of upset Mum and Dad. Oh, Zack! Moaned Mum. What did you do that for? It's cool, Zack said. It's ugly, Dad corrected. Ugly's the new cool, answers Zack. I'm not like either of my brothers, thank goodness. I'm 10 and I'm really into eco stuff like saving whales. I'd like to adopt one and have it at home, but the pond's not big enough. I like to feel that I'm at one with nature, you know? So I paint my face in earth and leaf colours, and I don't like itty pretty necklaces and stuff. So I decorate myself with plants and feathers instead. Zack once told me I looked like an escaped bush. So, I snapped back, you look like a major hair accident. But don't worry, I'll call an ambulance and they can take you to the emergency hair hospital. Ha ha, that shut him up. Anyhow, that's way too much about us. I want to tell you about our life with exploding buildings and karate penguins, not to mention when Mum almost got squeezed to a squash. Chapter 3, Fantasty Bubbly Crumbo. Emma Loveheart, that's my mum, used to be a brilliant gymnast. She's got a whole shelf full of trophies she's won in competitions. She's also a great swimmer and can swim 40 metres underwater. That means without breathing. Plus, she knows how to make the best chocolate cake ever. Yummy crummy. Mum's small and pretty, with big, kind hazel eyes. No wonder Dad married her. Dad's from Turkey, and he's called Aslan. That means lion in Turkish. Obviously, he's not a real lion, but he does look like one. He's got a big mane of swept back hair. He also has the largest nose and silver rimmed spectacles. Lions have large noses too, but they don't wear spectacles, and if they did, they'd have to be wrap-around mirror lens sunglasses, or they just look stupid. When I started junior school, a few kids teased me because my dad was Turkish. It's a sort of dumb thing kids say when they don't know any better. I said everyone had to come from somewhere, obviously. Yes, but yours comes from Turkey, Evie sniped. She's bossy like that. So where does your dad come from? I asked. And when Evie said Pratt's Bottom, the whole class fell about laughing. We didn't even believe it until my friend Sandeep found it on a map. Evie didn't tease me after that. Anyhow, back to Mum. She's a stunt woman in films and television. Stunt women and men do all sorts of dangerous things like jumping out of aeroplanes and falling downstairs. So Mum isn't a megasonic big screen star like Victoria Sponge or Tiara Tingletop. But when they have to do something dangerous, Mum does the dangerous bit for them. 3 cheers for my mum! Suppose Victoria Sponge is making a movie where she goes hurtling over a thunderous waterfall in a tiny canoe. Victoria doesn't do that herself. It's far too dangerous. A stunt actor does it instead. Stunt actors do special training so they can carry out these things without getting hurt. Mum dresses up to look like Victoria, and she goes hurtling over the waterfall instead. She's always doing extraordinary things like that. She had to fight 6 penguins once, and they weren't ordinary penguins. Dad had trained them all to do karate. Picture the scene. Black belt karate penguins. How scary is that? This scary. Ah! So one morning at breakfast, Mum came into the kitchen and said, I'm working on a new film. We stopped eating, food halfway to our mouths, not knowing what to expect. Did that mean she was going to be away from home for weeks again? Groan, groan. It's okay. I don't have to stay in America this time. I'll be filming over here and... She paused for effect, knowing we were hanging on every word. What? Shouted Finn. What? I repeated impatiently. Zack tossed back his hair. Spit it out, Mum, he muttered. Well, since you're on holiday from school, I thought you could come with me. She smiled and handed Batpants a slice of toast. Toast and jam is another favourite. Result! Zack relaxed back into his seat. Unbelievable, I said. Zack gave me an evil glance. The only unbelievable thing in this kitchen, Tilly, is your head. Why do you have half a bird's nest in your hair? Obviously, so the birds will know I don't mean them any harm, I declared. Zack looked at the others. She's out of her tree, he muttered, and so is that nest. Taisez-vous! I snapped back. That's French, that is. Very cool. This is how you say it. Taisez-vous. Guess what it means? Shut up. Very useful. We had a French student staying with us last year. Zack fell in love with her, of course. He's always falling in love. I think there's something wrong with him, like his brain, or his eyes, or both. Anyhow, Zach would look at her and murmur, Marie, because that was her name, obviously. Marie kept telling him to taisez-vous. Now I use it on Zach and Finn all the time. What about the film? Yelled Finn, always almost bouncing off his chair. Can we be in it? Mum shrugged. You know what it's like, Finn. That would be great, but it's not up to me. There's the film director, Alana, who would have to decide. Still, you'll get to be on location at Merkley Abbey. She put some more jam on a knife and handed it to Batpants. The ape carefully spread the jam onto her toast, then shoved the whole lot in her mouth in one go. Is it another Colorado Kate film? Asked Finn. Of course. Colorado Kate and the Curse of the Crimson Chameleon. Oh, blimey. Try saying that a few times fast. Just for once, the crew will be filming over here. The Colorado Kate films are about a daredevil adventuress starring Frangelica Whatnot as Kate. Kate's always getting captured or chased, or she's fighting bears, monsters, zombies, vampires, whatever. When Colorado Kate runs away, she always loses a shoe or twists her ankle. Oh no, now she can't run fast enough. Colorado stumbles, Colorado falls, the bear monster, zombie vampire will surely catch her, and then Colorado will die. As if. Kate always saves herself in the nick of time because she is strong and clever and good and unbelievable. Besides, she's usually rescued by her latest hunky boyfriend and collapses into his arms. Smooch, smooch, snog, snog, yuck, yuck. Anyhow, Frangelica Whatnot can't possibly do all that awfully dangerous and messy stuff. She only does the safe bits like the snogging, if you can call that safe, because she is the star and she must never get her hair in a mess. So guess who does do all the dangerous stuff? That's right, Emma Loveheart, top stunt woman and our mum. Ta-ra, ta-ra! Mum often spends months filming. And do you know what she does when she gets home? She sleeps under the kitchen table. Just for the first few days, anyway. I've spent the last 3 months doing stunts. I've been thrown off buildings, blown up, jumped from cars, and have fought giant snakes. The only place I want to be now is somewhere I can't fall out of bed and nothing can land on me or try to kill me. Plus some peace and quiet. And she crawls under the table with armfuls of blankets, curls up and sleeps like a baby. Now Mum was going to work on a new Colorado Kate film, and that meant she would be standing in Frangelica Whatnot. I mean, Frangelica Whatnot. She's about as peachy as anyone can get. We might get to meet her, I whispered to Finn, but he wasn't listening. Something was bothering him. What about Batpants? Who's going to look after her? He asked. Ploop, 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 complained the orangutan. Sometimes I think she understands every word we say. Dad chucked several more pieces of toast into the bread basket. They were instantly snaffled, mostly by Zach. It's not a problem. Batpants is in the film too. I was outraged. How come a useless orangutan gets to be in the film and we don't? That's not fair. Dad shrugged. Life is never fair, Tilly, he said. You always say that, grumbled Zack. Because it's true, and we deal with it. I thought you'd be pleased about Batpants. I'm pleased, cried Finn, pushing his hands against the table edge and leaning back in his chair. I think it's absolutely fantastic, bubbly crumbo. Ah! The chair legs slid away from him and crashed to the floor. Finn clawed wildly at the table to save himself before vanishing completely from sight, pulling the cloth with him. 2 cereal bowls, the milk, the bread basket, jam pot, sugar bowl, and 3 side plates vanished with him. Crunch! Spring! Squawk! For a few moments there was silence. Then Batpants covered her eyes with both arms. Woo! She moaned. A hand reached up from below and clutched the table again. The cereal bowl appeared upside down on top of Finn's head. Finally, his face came into view, dripping with milk. Bits of cereal were stuck in his hair. Sorry, he pleaded. Mum lifted the bowl from his head and put it to one side. You can tidy up, she sentenced like a judge. Rubbish and breakages into the bin, sweep and mop the floor, do the washing and up and drying up. Batpants behaves better than you. The ape heard her name and lowered her arms from her face. She picked up the jam knife and used it to inspect her left armpit, as if it was something very important and serious that she had to attend to. On second thoughts, that orangutan is just as bad, muttered Mum, changing her mind. She can help too. Chapter 4. The greatest stunt woman in the world? Let me tell you that a film set is a strange place. First of all, it's mostly pretend. The buildings often only have a front because that's all you see in the film. You walk through a front door and immediately you're outside again. There's stuff lying about everywhere. Cars, cranes, pianos, plastic hippos, fountains, giant cakes, half a ship. It could be anything. And there are real film stars wandering about right in front of you. You know, the people you read about in magazines. Victoria Sponge poses on the red carpet at last night's Oscars ceremony. Handsome hunk, manly strapped, relaxing in his jacuzzi. Finn and I love it. We wander about, trying to sneak into film sessions by mingling with the extras in crowd scenes. Sometimes we're spotted and get thrown out. Rats! But occasionally we've ended up in the actual movie. I've been in 2 films already, but we were especially excited to be on this film set. Even Zack, who was trying to act cool. As soon as we got to Muckley Abbey, we went out for an explore. That meant all 4 of us. Batpants, Zack, Finn, and me. We wandered about the place to see if any film had started, or maybe spot a few peachy film stars. It was pretty quiet though. Batpants was trailing behind us, swinging a big stick she'd picked up. She kept banging it against the back of Zack's legs, trying to trip him up. That got Zack so angry that and Finn and I fell about laughing. Will you stop that, you boneless bonehead? Zack yanked the stick from Batpants and hurled it as hard as he could to one side. A second later there was a loud crump as it hit the roof of a nearby caravan. Uh-oh, muttered Finn, and Batpants covered her head and gave a low moan. A door flew open and a woman came chasing out. Was that you children? What did you throw at my home? Why have you got a baboon with you? Sorry, it's Batpants, said Zack, quickly inventing an excuse. She likes us to throw sticks for her. And she's not a baboon, I pointed out. I hate it when adults get things wrong. They're supposed to know better. She's an orangutan. I don't care if she's a orangutan, barked the woman. Who are you, anyhow? I didn't think children were allowed here. Finn puffed out his chest. Our mum does Frangelica whatnots, stunt work, he declared proudly. She's the best stunt woman in the world. She can fall downstairs and everything. The woman's eyebrows shot up her forehead like a couple of crows taking off. Is that so? Well, I tell you, there's more than one stunt woman on this set, and I'm every bit as good as she is, and I can prove it. Wait there. The woman whirled into her caravan, only to come hurtling back out a second later, clutching a picture frame. She thrust it at Zack. See what that says? We studied the photo, a signed portrait of film star Ethan Blade. See? Snapped Cressida. If I'm good enough for Ethan, I'm good enough for anybody, for anyone. In fact, if anyone should be Frangelica's stunt woman, it's me. You don't just fall downstairs, you know. You have to act. She nodded. Yeah, and I've got a certificate for my acting. Huh, that didn't even pass. Anyone can have a certificate, and Finn told her so. I've got a certificate for swimming, he said, but Zack's a better swimmer than me, and he hasn't got a certificate for anything. Not even playing the guitar, I added. Smirk, smirk. Bats can swim, Finn put in for good measure, but hippos can't. They just sort of bounce. We ignored him. Underwater, he added, in case we hadn't understood. Cressida Crackletart's eyes narrowed to dagger points. What a pair of clever clogs! She sneered. She glared at us for a few seconds longer, then went to take the photo back. Batpants had other ideas. She whipped the photo away from Zack's hand, planted a massive, slobbery kiss on Ethan Blade's face, and lurched off, whooping and chattering. Hoo-hoo-ha! It was like she was saying, come and get me! Cressida Crackletart set off after the ape, doing her own whooping. This was exactly what Batpants wanted. She shot up a tree, hauling herself up with easy swoops of her long arms. You come back down here, you overgrown ginger mop! Shouted Cressida. Batpants took no notice. She studied Ethan's photo instead, tracing over his face with a long brown finger. Cressida climbed the tree and quickly worked her way up. Batpants watched Cressida's approach. She scratched behind her left ear. She scratched behind her right ear. She bared her teeth. Don't pull faces at me, you scrawny hairbag, Cressida warned. Batpants turned her back on the stunt woman, raised her bottom from the branch, and made a very rude noise. "You disgusting dirt pot!" yelled Cressida. "Just you come here and say that. On second thoughts, don't." At that point, Batpants got bored and let go of the photo. It crashed down through several branches before lodging in a fork of the tree. Cressida grabbed it and climbed down. "I'll be speaking to your mother about this," she muttered, trying to clean ape slop off me Blade's face. "It's not our fault," I said. You tried telling an orangutan not what to do. That's no excuse. She's a menace. She shouldn't be on the set. She's in the film, Zach said bluntly. That's why she's here. Cressida Crappletart's mouth snapped shut. For a moment she was speechless. She spun on her feet and stormed back into her caravan, slamming the door behind her so hard the TV aerial fell off the roof. I felt a fat, warm, hairy hand slide into mine. Batpants had slipped silently down from the tree and was back with us. She looked up at me with her huge dark eyes as if to say, "What's up with her? I'm totally innocent." As we turned to go and find Mum, I thought I saw the curtains at one of the windows on Cressida's caravan twitch. I wondered if she'd been watching us. That woman was kooky spooky. Finn and I were trailing behind our big brother when he suddenly stopped dead. Finn walked straight into his rear. Splunt. Zack hardly noticed. He was staring goggle-eyed at someone coming straight towards us. "Who do you reckon that is going to be, Jack?" Whisper in my ear. "Oh, I see. You think Zack's going to find himself a new girlfriend. I think you might be right. We'll see you next time, shall we? Thank you, everybody, for listening, watching, commenting, subscribing, and I will see you soon for more shenanigans and hopefully another story. Cheerio!